understanding of the gravity of problem at hand. Myanmar border, India-Myanmar border is 1,643 km long, passes through Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. The Nagaland-Myanmar border is 215 km long, Mizoram-Myanmar border is 510 km long, Arunachal Pradesh-Myanmar border is 520 km long, Manipur-Myanmar border is 398 km long. An influx of refugees after a coup in Myanmar in 2021, 36,000 plus refugees from Myanmar are in Mizoram and 5,000 in Manipur. Manipur has also witnessed ethnic violence last year. It continues to simmer, and it has also witnessed sporadic episodes whereby law and order is taken into hands by the miscreants, and is also dealing with the refugee crisis. Around 5,000 refugees from Myanmar reside in Manipur, and as per the government data have played an instrumental role in bringing instability to the state. 5,000 refugees, which is an influx itself, and most of them are involved in gun running and adding to the problem of the state, which is you interfere in the process, which is arms, drug, and then you are a drain on the resources. Why? Because you create more villages, you cut down more trees. Recently, in a major development, 5,000 Myanmar refugees that have been identified to be booted out of the Manipur reportedly fled to the neighboring Mizoram via forest route. This was reported by newspaper. These refugees have camped in the Champhai and the areas which is known as the Vaikhawtlang of Mizoram. It's also reported that in Champhai alone 60,000 refugees have taken shelter and have overtaken 6 to 7 villages in the area. Not only this, around 1,000 Chin-Kuki refugees have taken refuge in Mizoram in the last few days as the fighting between the junta and insurgent forces intensified in Myanmar. Now let me straight away go to Subir Bhaumik, author and a senior journalist who understands the politics and the security issues of Northeast, and we can continue to play graphic. So this is very strange, you had marked out the illegal immigrants and the entire stretch migrates to the neighboring states, and in the neighboring state, the Chief Minister and his predecessor, Zoram Thanga, had clearly said that they are not going to evict them. Is it something new in Northeast? And for 5,000 people to move like that?
I'm not surprised by this development. I also like to point out that as you introduce the subject, you seem to be confused about illegal immigrants and refugees. The refugees who come here because they are suffering persecution, they are not intending to stay here endlessly. All refugees, by definition, want to go back. They have taken refuge in your country. Whereas illegal migrants are those who come here with a clear intention to stay. Now, if these things are confused, deliberately sometimes by political elements, that's where the trouble starts. Now, here I have three clear takes. India played no role which it could have in bringing about some kind of political resolution in Myanmar. I've been suggesting myself that we should have sent a Gandhi peace mission because we are the only country which has credibility both with the junta as well as other political elements, political parties, ethnic armed rebel groups, everything. We did nothing. We decided to wait and watch, and we think we are a regional power. You don't become a regional power by strategic action, which is wait and watch. Number one. Number two, these people are not new. In 1988, when Myanmar erupted in violence and there was a huge military crackdown, 888 movement, many more refugees that have come now came to India. They all went back. Okay? So this is a scare which is being created by political elements in Manipur that those who have come will not go back. They're illegal migrants. As far as, this Mizoram Manipur thing is concerned, that the Manipur is throwing them out and Mizoram is taking them. Same thing I expect if refugees from Bangladesh tomorrow come because of some problem. West Bengal and Tripura, which is a Bengali majority state, will shelter them. Assam may throw them out, Meghalaya may throw them out. This is all related to explosive, this is all related to ethnicity. As far as arms and drug smuggling are concerned, it will be total. There are Myanmarese refugees who are involved in it. more as carriers, more as peddlers. But the big guns into this drug trade are people who are very close to the sources of power in Manipur. What is the Chocha cartel? This is not something run by Kukis or run by, Myanmarese refugees. So let's get this right, that there is a political agenda here to promote illegal migrant as a hawa. Northeast sits on several foreign countries, where if the crisis erupts, it's natural that people will be coming into, neighboring Indian states. It has happened in 1971, it has happened everywhere, and it has happened down south. When the whole thing erupted in Sri Lanka, did Tamil refugees not come here? It has erupted elsewhere also. So why is there a conscious attempt to pass off all refugees as illegal migrants? This is the new name of the political game in India, in a very new India, and I don't agree with this.
Okay,
that's my take.
Okay, I think Mr. Bhaumik has made a point that one needs to differentiate between illegal immigrants and refugees. Brijesh.
Well, absolutely, because one thing is very clear, that refugees are forced to leave their place because of the extraneous circumstances, which makes living in their own homeland next to impossible. We know what is happening in Burma. We know the reason why these people are forced to flee from the place. Illegal immigrants is also, is something which the government of the day should take care of. But the fact of the matter is, as we know, has been covering this, ethnic strife which is happening in the state of Manipur for a very long time. I think, there's more of a political play rather than a genuine attempt to understand the problem which is at hand and making efforts to solve that problem. The fact of the matter is that you very rightly said that, in the last election, when the government said that, we would want to introduce biometrics and would take biometrics of everyone who is there at the refugee camps, and, many people who have been arrested, it was very strongly resisted by Mizoram Thanga, and, many agreed that, it was all because of the political purposes and nothing more than that. See, that the thing is that politics is the reason why there is a massive internal strife which is going on in the state of Manipur. The police is not able to exercise its power the way it should have been, and that is the crux of the problem.
Let me put this question to Mr. Bhaumik. Sir, the Kuki immigration into Manipur, isn't that real, which the Biren Singh has been talking about, illegal immigrants destroying forests and growing poppy, or it's part of a political narrative?
The Kukis are as much resident of the state of Manipur. The Kuki areas of Manipur were conquered by Manipur kings, but this is their homeland. Now some Kukis from the other side of the water may and would have come and settled here. It's like a lot of people from East Bengal, people of my stock, who would come from there because of political persecution or other reasons, sometimes for economic reasons, come and settle in places like West Bengal, Tripura, or even Assam and Manipur. Point is, the clear point here is, can Biren Singh government, which has been unable to resolve this crisis for more than 1 year now, the strife is going on and on, ruled by militia, Arambal Bengal running riot, 4,000 weapons given away. Can this government, which is classically inefficient or deliberately so, be able to actually identify illegally migrating Kukis and Kukis who are residents of Manipur? It's like, Assam. It's like every Bengali you see. Even I have been called a Bangladeshi in my own newsroom when I edited the newspaper there. What do you mean? We Bengalis fought for the independence of this country. If 70 years later, we have to give test whether we are Indians or not, sometime we are going to say thank you. Same thing everywhere. Why certain nationalities are targeted in this manner? What is the son of the soil? There is no son of the soil. Somebody has come from Tibet, somebody has come from Shan state in Myanmar, maybe 200 years ago. Northeast is like a railway compartment. Somebody who has already got into it does not want other passengers to get into it. So who are the Assamese? Who are the Tagahoms? Where have they come from? Where have the British come from? You check the origin. So you pure jo son of the soil wala theory, and this is all bunkum. Secondly, let me point out, people who can't differentiate between refugees, internally displaced people, and economic migrants who are migrating, they don't know anything about international law and refugee law. I've been part of the UN committee which drafted the then principles on internal displacement. where a clear effort was made to differentiate between refugees who are fleeing primarily because of political or ethnic persecution, between internally displaced people who are displaced within their own country, and economic migrants. Now, unless these things are clear and you know, घोड़े का सर गधे पे लगा दोगे, तो नहीं होगा भाई.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Bhaumik. Thank you, Mr. Bhaumik, for you know, putting your perspective. But then, you know, there's a, I agree, there's a difference between economic migrants, there's a difference between, you know, gun runners foraying into the Indian territory, and then you have the problem of the refugees. But then there's also one issue. Any community wouldn't like to turn into a minority. And you know, that's heart of the Manipur problem, because the demography can change. And a lot of Maithis I speak to, that's the heart of the problem, that the whole demography is changing and the areas are being taken over.
Well, I agree with that. Nobody would want to be a minority in a state where they have been a majority for a very long time. But then there are ways to tackle that particular situation. You know, you have to you cannot brandish one community as you know, poppy cultivators, gun runners, and their sole intention is to usurp the land rights and, you know, rename everything and make sure that the state turns into their own fiefdom. The second is that, you know, there has to be steps taken by the government to make a distinction between illegal immigrants and refugees. You know, as a state, you cannot turn your back on someone who has actually fled from Burma, facing the wrath of junta, or, you know, the kind of politics, the bloody politics which is being placed there, where, you know, your life or your existence is at risk. And then is the case of illegal immigrants. You can crack down on illegal immigrants as hard as you can. You should crack down, because they are not only a threat to the country, they are a threat to the state, they are a threat to every other thing which is possible.
And we had a position on Rohingyas also for the same issue.
Absolutely. But what I am trying to say is that a refugee comes under a different basket altogether. And, you know, you cannot use that refugee to play politics about it. Crack down on people who are gun runners, crack down people who are drug peddlers, crack down on people who are running the drug cartels. Who's stopping that? Who in his right mind would say no to that? But the problem is that there's not a proper holistic approach to tackle the problem. And when you adopt a piecemeal attitude to solve a very complex and nuanced problem, the outcome is exactly as what we are witnessing in Manipur for the last 1 year.
Thank you, Brijesh. Yes, Manipur is a complex problem. Illegal immigration, refugees, these are two different tracks of people who migrate from their country to other. But the Manipur, the problem is that illegal immigration has led to destruction of forest, poppy cultivation, drug distribution, which has become a bane for the entire Manipuri state. And the only thing which can be done has been done by the central government. They have scrapped the FMR, they are trying to barricade the border, but the instability in Myanmar continues to be a national security problem, not only for Manipur, but Mizoram, Nagaland, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. And I think on this issue, the Chief Minister of the states should think from the national perspective and not from the ethnic perspective. Like, you know, the Chief Minister of Mizoram has been saying that since the communities come from the same stock, you know, he will not be able to take that action. I think that that should be done away with. That is all in this show, but as I promised, I leave you with the rest of the on points. Good night.